and welcome to this special segment where we are joined by Mr. Abhishek Gupta, the founder and CEO of Guide AI. Before we start, can we have a small, quick introduction from you, sir?
So, you know my name, Abhishek Gupta. I'm the founder of two organizations. One is called High School Moms, which is so far, I think, now it has become world's largest parent-student community. And the other is Guide AI. Guide is into career and college advisory um, for high school students to explore their right careers in the right manner. So that's what Guide is.
Okay, welcome to the show and thank you for taking out time to talk to us today. Let us start this discussion by the most basic but I think the most interesting question, that what inspired you to start Guide AI, and what do you think were the core problems that you saw that you wanted to solve through this platform?
So the story is very interesting. I was working in the corporate, and I was asked to go and recruit from some of the best engineering colleges in the country, and I had to build my team. I went there, and I'm not gonna take the names of these engineering colleges, but these are the ones which everybody dreams about, right?
Right.
And when I started interviewing the kids, I asked them why engineering, or why electrical, or why mechanical. And would you believe it that nobody had an answer? Most of them said because I took PCM. Some said because parents wanted us to write JEE. Or some of them said that because after this I can actually go ahead and do an MBA. And it was so disheartening, if I may say, that somebody is actually picking up engineering, wasting countries' resources, uh, and they have no clue why they wanted to become an engineer. And that's when I realized that this career confusion in India is actually another epidemic,
Right.
and somebody needs to do something about it. And that's when Guide started.
And do you think that you have been able to solve it to some extent?
I'm trying to challenge the norms.
Okay.
Unfortunately, in India, I do not know about your home, but at my home also, in mid of 90s when I was in high school, it was pretty simple. If you score well in 10th, you take PCM or PCB. If you score okay, you take commerce. If you score bad,
Right.
you take humanities.
Right.
And 10th marks used to be the benchmark of what you want to be,
Yeah.
which I don't think is right, simply because unfortunately, and again I'll not take the names of the boards, but the so-called national curriculum boards are doing injustice to our students because they are giving free marks. I speak to principals and they say that the board marking scheme is such that even if you use one keyword or two keywords, the child gets full marks. And that makes everybody think that they are great at maths and science. But not everybody is supposed to be a science student, right? So yeah, I think I have been able to make a difference where at least I have been able to create a platform on which you can go and genuinely check your interest, map it with aptitude, and then further map it with skills. And it's the only assessment that I have been able to create, which is available today, where interest, aptitude, and skills can be matched, and you can really guide a child or a high schooler towards the right careers.
Following up from that, you're challenging the norm that grades define success. Like you just said that, using the keywords doesn't mean that the kid knows it. So what is the alternate path that you want to chalk out for Indian students specifically through this?
So I'll tell you honestly, marks do not define success. Degrees do not define success. You'll be surprised. Uh, I'm a I'm a pretty successful career counselor and a founder with a very strong social media presence, a multi-million-dollar ed tech company. Having said that, if you ask me what's your degree, forget about my degree, but do you know that there is no degree called bachelor's in career counseling? There's a degree called bachelor's
Yeah.
in psychology,
Yeah.
right? There's no degree called master's in career counseling.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for all of us, marks, grades, subjects is equal to career, which is not true, or degree is equal to career, which is not true. So, how do you identify a career? How do you identify a career is I can identify my interest. So, I can say, hey, I love watching this, I love being a part of this. But interest is also not success. because I can love watching YouTube videos on space science. But if I cannot handle higher level calculus, I can never become a successful space scientist.
Right.
So interest is important, but interest needs to be backed by aptitude, because if interest is high and aptitude is low, you're happy but you're not successful, right? So both have to match. But then why are you a successful anchor, or why am I a successful counselor? It's not just because you know great journalism or I know great counseling. It's because we are able to talk well. So there's something called skill as well.
True.
In your career and in my career, if you do not have great communication skills or maybe a decent camera presence, you'll never be successful. So interest, aptitude, and then skills. So I think the way I am trying to change the narrative is there is an assessment which can scientifically map interest, aptitude, and skills, and you do not need to be worried only about marks in one particular exam in one particular subject, which will tell you you are supposed to be X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Great. And talking about Guide AI specifically, so what kind of technologies are you using, or what kind of devices do you think, not just technical devices but in general, that can help students chart their bring out their career strengths and their career paths?
See, like I said, so Guide AI, as the name says, AI, right? Now, AI is such a misnomer in today's time that anybody who uses LLM can actually say we know AI.
Yeah.
That's not true. But having said that, if I have to very simply put for your audience, I would say the entire test has been designed that it can actually give out a very personalized report.
Okay.
And that personalization is coming through artificial intelligence.
Okay.
And when I say artificial intelligence, obviously some data has been put into it. And this data has come through millions of data points which we have collected through high school moms. So like I said that I'm also the founder of world's largest parent-student community. For good 4 years, we actually collected the pain points of the students, pain points of the parents, and that's when I started creating Guide AI. I would say that one thing which Guide AI definitely avoids, which I call it the most stupid part of career advisory in India, is psychometric.
Okay.
And I might just create a scandal here by saying that psychometrics are the worst way of identifying a child's career. I can understand that psychometric is a great way for people to hire resources when they are matured. But for a teenager whose personality is evolving, how can you define his or her career on the basis of a personality assessment?
Right.
The personality is evolving, right? So I don't think psychometric is worse than astrology. It's actually as predictable as astrology, or as speculative as astrology. So it is not psychometric. What we have done is we have used true artificial intelligence, data gathered by millions of data points, and then combine it with the scientific measurable parameters like interest, aptitude, and skills.
You talked about some test here, right?
Correct.
Can you explain this test for our
It's
audience?
called G paths. It stands for guiding paths, and it's a 90-minute assessment where a child has to sit at one go. So my request to all the parents out there and students out there, especially parents, if your child is taking this assessment, please do not say doodh pee lo, seb kha lo, apple kha lo. Don't disturb the child for 90 minutes. Nothing is going to go wrong in 90 minutes to your child. They won't
It has
fail.
to be unattended.
It has to be, uninterrupted.
And is it online?
It is online.
Okay.
It is available at guide.ai, and it's gid.ai. In 90 minutes, you give an interest assessment, you give an aptitude assessment, you give a skill assessment, and you give an extracurricular assessment. And after 90 minutes, a magic happens. And that magic is where there is a report which gets generated, which an average parent can understand, which an average student will be able to understand. It talks about your top 3 career choices, where you have the maximum chance of becoming successful. Then it also talks about the top jobs available in those careers, because journalism is a big career. You have a different job and somebody has a different job, right? So top jobs in that career. After that, it will also talk about 36 universities, 6 across India, 6 across UK, US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Because in the aptitude section, we have actually made the aptitude section very aligned to SATs and CUETs.
Okay.
So you'll be able to target which kind of universities I can actually go to. It talks about the entrance exams that you can give, and all of that is clickable because it's a PDF report.
Okay.
You click on the entrance exam, it will take you to the authentic website of that
The
entrance
official
exam.
ones, right.
No coaching institute. It'll talk about the right profile building activities that you should do in high school so that you can get admissions. And then it also talks about the right subjects in high school that you need to take for that career. It talks about right scholarships that you can apply if you really want to study in the best of the universities. And each of these data point is actually clickable. So if I say XYZ scholarship from Stanford or XYZ scholarship from University of Toronto, when you click on it, it actually takes you to the authentic website of University of Toronto, scholarship page meant for an international student.
So ideally, at what age should kids go through this test?
Grade 9 to 12. So if you have entered grade 9, you are good to take this test. If you have entered grade 12, you are good to take this test. I don't think one should waste their money by taking the test after grade 12.
Right. But if they take it in grade 12, and we are saying that, say it's a commerce student and their aptitude test turns out to come out to somewhere around science.
Right.
Is that going to
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because if you're taking the test in grade 11 and 12, your interests are already getting aligned, right?
Right.
So you'll not be able to lie to the assessment because each question is asked multiple times in multiple different manners.
Okay.
So I can't fool the test, right? It can happen that a grade 9 kid or 10 kid is saying that I love sciences, but eventually what comes out is finance and economics. That can happen. That's because while grade 9 student was saying that he loves sciences, he was more logical than anything else, right? And finance and economics are as logical as sciences, right? But it will not happen with a grade 11 and 12. So that's not even the case that you should be worried about.
So once the test results are out, what kind of career counseling are you doing? Because we've talked about that, how there's no degree and how there are a lot of things that are going on in traditional career counseling that you might not agree with. So how is your approach towards that?
So
different from the traditional?
once a student takes the assessment, he gets a meeting with one of our counselors in our team. They help you explain the assessment report. Having said that, believe me, the report itself is self-understandable.
Okay.
You do not need a counselor. It's just that you have a feel-good factor of talking to a counselor, so we do that. But otherwise, the report is made in such a manner that it's a very actionable report.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this also online?
Yeah, absolutely online.
So your whole process is online. So
yeah, I mean,
people
my
don't have to travel.
team is 150 plus people, and they have scattered across the world. I don't think that in today's time one needs to be stationed at one place to work.
Since we've talked about this test and we've talked about your approach to career counseling, it would also be very beneficial if you can share some real life examples of how your company has helped some student, one or two that you could remember.
I will give you many, but I'll start with one which is very interesting.
Yes, let's go with that.
The interesting one is me myself.
Okay.
You talk to a million people. Okay, there are people who come and attend my sessions across the world. Right. I recently did one in Delhi. The seating capacity was 300 and we had almost 650 people in the room. We didn't have place to make them stand. And you ask that hall full of 650 people that what is the first career that comes to your mind when I say PCM? They will say engineering. Your audience also, if I say PCB, your cameraman, what's the first career if I say PCB? They'll say doctor. Commerce, CA, humanities, lawyer or UPSC, right? Those 650 people would have never talked to their children that even career counseling is a career. Because according to them, I'm unemployed. While I'm running a multi-million-dollar edtech company, I'm a reputed career counselor. I have a team of 150 people, but I'm unemployed according to parents in India. Because nobody thinks about career counseling as a career. And I think, so it started with me per se.
Okay.
But having said that, can you imagine a PCM student becoming a journalist? I've seen that.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the topper of the school leaving everything and becoming a social media influencer? I have seen that, and it's an authentic career. I have seen biology students, after giving up their NEET dream because they couldn't clear it, becoming very successful psychologists. So yeah, I've seen multiple cases, and like I told you, Diksha, earlier, that it's not about a degree. Degree is a good starting point, but only if parents can understand that futuristic careers are very, very different than what you and me were taught in 1990s. Unfortunately, Parents are so busy in their own work
Yeah.
that they have forgotten that the world has moved ahead. It's not 1990s anymore. And if they are still stuck in these four careers, then let me tell you that they're already outdated.
Picking up from that, and you also mentioned that how somebody who went through PCB went into social media influencing. So I'm assuming that your test also covers the new age
100%.
professions,
It
right?
covers a lot of futuristic careers which possibly a normal person would never be aware of.
Could you share some examples other
Climate
than?
tech, right? I mean, everybody is happy complaining about pollution in Delhi NCR. Nobody understands that next 30 years, climate tech, sustainability is going to be a big time career. Parents just feel, oh, environmental sciences, इसमें तो कोई career ही नहीं है. 1990s में नहीं था. But
Yeah.
1990s में फिर social media भी नहीं था. 1990s में AI भी नहीं था. Are
Exactly.
you going to say there is no social media, there is no AI today? Similarly, there is climate tech, there is sustainability as a career. It does cover that. So there are so many other careers that it covers other than just climate tech and sustainability.
So let's change gears a bit. You have recently won the Excellence in Career Guidance Award at ET Now and Business Conclave and Awards. What does this recognition mean to you, and how do you think you can use that to your guiding parents?
Honestly, very humbled, grateful, but I think other than being humbled and grateful, nothing more than that. Whenever as a founder, you have targets to achieve, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I achieve a target, my next thing to my team is, what's next? Let's celebrate for half an hour, yes, but what's next? So I think this award is nothing but a feel-good factor for some time. Good to go on my website, but what's next?
Great.
That's it.
Talking about what next, and this is going to be my concluding question to you. Would you like to give out a message to our students watching this or the parents watching this on what next should they do for their children?
Can I give them 3 tips?
Yes, please.
Number one, and this is my request to every parent out there, every child does not need to do JEE and NEET. Stop pushing them into JEE and NEET prep. Just because your child scored good in maths and science in grade 10 does not mean they are maths and science kids, because everybody scores well in maths and science in national curriculum board exams. Number two, just because your child comes and says that they scored well in one subject in one unit test, which could be biology, does not mean your child needs to be a doctor. The child can get into bioinformatics, the child can get into microbiology. There are so many other careers. And number three, you've worked as a parent for last 25-30 years for the success of your child. If your child is in grade 9 to 11 right now, next 2-3 years will decide whether your hard work actually gets actualized also or not. So instead of just earning money for the child, start spending 2 hours every week to plan their career and college journey, because I can tell you, successful teenagers are those who have intentional parents. So are you an intentional parent? That's what is up to you to decide. That's it.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking out time to talk to us.
Thank you, Diksha.
This is Diksha Teri for Times Now Network, and continue to watch this space as we bring you more and interesting conversations.
Thank you.